Bosco Campus Vision. I am Sharon Stanley, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, Don Bosco College, Kottayam. Dear students, in this lecture on creative writing paper, I deal with the first module, poetry. Today, we analyze the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore is known as the Bard of the East. He was one of the pioneers of the Indian Renaissance in art and literature. He wrote in Bengali and later translated many of his works into English. He had a very deep religious cast of mind and a profound sense of humanism. Apart from poetry, he also wrote short stories, essays and novels. And his contributions have carved a niche for Indian literature among world classics. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1913 for his magnum opus Geetanjali, which was a culmination of his sublime and spiritual poetry. He was also a great painter, musician and educationist. He founded the Vishwabharati University, which is a model educational institution. He was deeply concerned with the emancipation of India from the clutches of imperialism and the tyranny of traditions, customs and superstitions. The philosophy underlying all his writings is the power of love, which is the key to one's fulfillment and freedom. His poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear, the 35th song of the Geetanjali, is an earnest prayer to God, wherein Tagore sketches a moving picture of the nation he would like India to be. Now I read out the poem for you. Later I give you the line-by-line explanation. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. The first line of the poem, a part of which is the title itself, holds a very significant meaning. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Fear in this line refers to the fear inculcated in the minds of Indians under the British rule. Here the poet is speaking about the miserable life led by people dominated by the British. The poet envisions India as a country where the people's minds are free from fear and they live a dignified life. He also wants to convey that freedom can be attained only when the mind is fearless and the head is held high with respect and dignity. In this line, where knowledge is free, the poet says, gaining independence would also give them the freedom to acquire knowledge and be self-reliant, which was restricted during the British rule. Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Here, the poet speaks about the various evils crept into the society at that time. The British used the divide and rule policy by creating rivalries among different sections of the society. The term narrow domestic walls refers to the walls of religion, race, caste and creed created by the people. It may also refer to the various superstitious beliefs that prevailed in society during that time. The ensuing or following lines, where words come out from the depth of truth, implies the poet envisioned his countrymen to live their lives with honesty and utmost truth. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, here personification has been used for tireless striving. The poet says, one's goal should be to attain perfection, that is, to be an ideal country, and all those years of struggle would finally reach its goal of attaining freedom and perfection. Next lines, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way in the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Here the poet uses metaphor for reason and habit. He refers to reason as a clear stream that is pure and not contaminated. Here, he is speaking about the thoughts of people, which he says should be clear, noble, honest, and free from all sorts of corruption. Dreary desert, sand of dead habit, also refers to the evils in the society like superstitious practices that lack logic and reason. Where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. In the last three lines, the poet prays to the Almighty for his guidance and support to attain independence. The poet wishes his countrymen to be led forward by their noble thoughts and actions. He refers to freedom as a heavenly place and addresses God as Father, asking him to awaken his people and help them reach that glorious place. Freedom and unity are the major themes discussed in this poem. People should be knowledgeable, rational, truthful, hardworking, and broad-minded to make his nation achieve true freedom. This is a central idea discussed in this poem. In this poem, where the mind is without fear, Tagore sketches a moving picture of the nation he would like India to be. A nation where everyone within the fold of the brotherhood and is free to hold up one's head high and one's voice can be heard without having any apprehension or fear of oppression or forced compulsion. He talks about a nation where the knowledge is not restricted by narrow ideas and loyalties. The India of Tagore's dream is a country where the people hold their heads high with their pride in knowledge, where all countrymen must come out of the age-old philosophy of constricted loyalties of caste, creed and religion, prejudice and superstitions which narrow the mind and divide the people should become a thing of the past. It should be a nation where the words are spoken out courageously. People should work for perfection, leaving aside all superstitious rituals, beliefs and narrow-mindedness. It should be a nation where everyone is free to toil and work hard for anything they desire, either for their own or for the good of the nation. Analysis of figure of speech. A figure of speech that runs throughout the poem is a rhetorical device known as anaphora, the repetition of where at the beginning of the lines. Second one, synecdoche. Synecdoche means a part stands for the whole. Here, mind refers to the person. Next, alliteration. H repeated, head held high. And the instances of alliteration where the mind is without fear, striving stretches, dreary desert sand of dead habit, etc. Then hyperbole. Hyperbole means exaggeration. Next, metaphor. Here reason is regarded as a clear stream losing its direction due to obstacles. Another metaphor, old outdated customs are compared or regarded as clear stream losing its direction due to obstacles. Then freedom regarded as heaven in the 12th line, and in the concluding stanza, on the concluding section, we can see the figure of speech apostrophe. Father, let my country awake. Here the poet addresses God as Father. I hope it is clear this far. You please find out all the figures of speech in the poem where the mind is without fear and write it down as an assignment. Thank you.